I read both chapters 1 and 2 of The Legal Environment of Business. In the first chapter, it actually talks about critical thinking. One of the big things I got from the chapter was this quote that said that the book had, which is success in business today requires critical thinking skills. And in business law, these skills can help with the future role you can have in business, including being a manager or an entrepreneur. What this basically taught me was that being understanding the law and how business can work is way more important than you realize. Applies mostly to business majors, not mostly just to those interested in law. Um, like I said, this chapter deals with critical thinking, and there were actually some steps to actually figure out how to do that. There are facts, which are basically building blocks for simple information. There's the issue, which forms a reaction from somebody if you are either accused or wrongful of information. There's reasons and conclusions, where you have to look at the issue and conclude to see what you can figure out about it. There's also rules of law, which basically is the judge's choice to think back to previous cases of how to exactly resolve the conflict. There's ambiguity, which is recognizing a word has more than one meaning. There's ethical norms, which is basically over norms like justice, stability, freedom, and efficiency. There's also analogies, which is where you compare legal traditions with the facts of a case. And then there's also missing information, which is where you ask helpful questions to get answers, since most people in cases are not always willing to answer. And Chapter 2 is the introduction to business law. While Chapter 1 introduced only stuff regarding of critical thinking, the second chapter goes into a little bit more in depth of what exactly business law is. So, basically, the legal environment of business has had many chapters, but according to the book, there's only about 5 features that really make up the definition. And they are critical thinking skills, which I brought up back in the last chapter. There's legal literacy, a understanding that a law is not dynamic or static, real-world problems, and interdependence in nature. The chapter also brought up the fact that there are also many different types of schools when it comes to law. There is natural law school, which is just the source of a law is absolute. There's post-business school, which is basically where it says a source of a law is static. There's a sociological school, which deals with contemporary community options and customs. There's American Realist School, which deals with actors in the legal system. There's Critical Legal Studies School, which is a cluster of legal and non-legal beliefs. There's Feminist School, which deals when a woman's perspective are ignored. There's Law and Economics School, which deals with the classical economic theory that can be applied to all laws. Aside from that, I also know that there are different types of laws that get classified. There's statutory law, which is made by the legislative branch. Case law, which is dealt by the judicial interpretations of the constitutions. Criminal law, which is federal and state crimes. This can go from something like murder or fraud. There's civil law, which is litigation between two private parties. Private law, which deals with the enforcement of private duties. There's substantive law, which creates and retaliates legal rights. There's procedural law, which are rules for enforcing substantive rights. And then there's cyber law, where basically a crime can be committed through technology. Basically, from reading the 2 chapters, it taught me how much exactly law applies to the business world. I actually never once thought about law applying to the business world once in my life, once at all, when I was originally doing my major. Now it's actually widened my perspective of how to do something right in your business and what not to do. It has also taught me what exactly I would need to prepare for if I was to, say, open my own business, as well as the fact that basically, it tells all of us that we need to be careful when it comes to doing our business, whether we're at the top or at the bottom. But it basically tells me that we need to be careful out there, and just prepare for what's ahead.